event possible. A special thank you to our platinum sponsors, Schneider Electric and Train Technologies, gold sponsors, Carrier, and silver sponsors, ABB India and Tabreed. Their unwavering support and commitment have played a pivotal role in making this event a reality. So, to mark the commencement of this monumental conference, I'd like to invite our distinguished guests to step forward and illuminate the lamp, symbolizing the light of knowledge and innovation that will guide us through this conference. So, with no further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Satish Kumar, Mr. Venkat Garimella, Mr. Brian Motherway, Mr. Sanjeev Agarwal, Mr. Alok Kumar, Mr. Saurabh Kumar, and Mr. Padu S. Padmanabhan to the stage. Please take the stage, sir. Thank you, everyone. So let's start on this positive note. I would first like to invite to the stage Mr. Venkat Garimella, Chairperson, Alliance for an Energy Efficient Economy, and Vice President, Sustainability, Schneider Electric India, to say a few words and welcome the participants.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's such a pleasure and privilege for me to welcome you all to FEED, Forum on Energy Efficiency and Decarbonization. FEED is now, this FEED is the 5th edition, and indeed, over these many years, FEED has become a collaborative platform engaging stakeholders across sectors to further action energy efficiency. And this time, the theme for FEED is all about how do we move the needle on energy efficiency, how do we leverage technologies, and how do we create resilient economies. So that's the overall theme, and we are extremely happy to see the registration, the lineup of speakers. We have very distinguished guests amongst us, and I'm sure these 2 days will be very, very engaging and very enlightening to all of us. I would sincerely request everyone to remain engaged, make the most of your time and energy that you are spending with us. I'll take a moment to thank our sponsors. We have Train Technologies, Tabreed, Carrier, ABB, MP N Systems, and Schneider, and also our knowledge partners, and all the other associate partners. A big shout out to the steering committee of FEED and the secretariat of AEEE, who have been really working hard to put this together. Now, talking about energy efficiency, well, this topic is not new. We have been dealing with this for quite some time. But to my mind, I think 2023 was a very historic year so far as this energy efficiency topic is concerned. It was extensively discussed in the New Delhi G20 summit, followed up by the COP in Dubai, so much so that countries have now come together and really taken a pledge to double efforts on energy efficiency by 2030. Essentially, this means improving energy efficiency by about 4% year on year, all the way from now to 2030. It may not look so big number, 4%, but actually this is almost 3 times the average that the world has achieved in terms of energy efficiency in last 2 decades. Indeed, 2023 and 2024 was not a significant year for energy efficiency. Maybe Brian is here, he will talk more about it. Perhaps about 1% was kind of the energy efficiency average for last 2 years. So a lot to be done. And I think forums like this will really help us to see what can be done and how it can be done. If we achieve this by 2030, I think the impact is significant. We are going to save about, I don't know, 190, 200 exajoules of energy. We're going to save 11 billion tons of emissions, going to create some 10 million jobs, so on and so forth. So the impact is phenomenal. The intent exists. Now it's all about how do we action, how do we move the needle, and how do we deliver. So this is what perhaps we will try to deliberate in these 2 days. And talking a bit on this, how the energy space is really contributing to the emissions in the world. Today, 80% of emissions that we see in the world are on account of energy consumption, energy that we use in our offices, homes, roads, industries, etc. Almost about maybe 30, 35, 40 billion tons of CO2 equivalent that we emit because of our energy consumption. And this energy consumption is completely fueled by our overconsumption, overuse of resources. Now, for us to do anything on climate change, decarbonization, and perhaps a sustainable future, the energy ecosystem is at the center of this conversation. And if you go back in the history, the Homo sapiens, the race that we are, is just about 2 lakh years old. And today we are perhaps become the planet scale force. What we do, what we don't do, actually is going to impact the course of the planet. And we are now like the most strongest, let's say, species or organism or animal on the planet, pretty much on the top of the food chain. But when Homo sapiens came on this planet, it was not so. We were somewhere struggling in the middle of the food chain. And, if you see ourselves, we do not have any great, let's say, virtues physically. We don't have great muscle power to make us run faster. Our jaws are not that big to bite into our prey. The way we hear, we see, the way we smell is all highly limited versus the other organisms. So we were literally struggling somewhere in the middle of the food chain back then. So much so that the larger, more ferocious, let's say, organisms, animals used to have their prey, and then after they finished their meal, Homo sapiens, we humans, used to go around and nibble around the leftovers, and that's how we survived. But what really took us to the top of the food chain? To my mind, I think this transformation happened when we discovered fire and we learned to domesticate fire. And since then, it transformed. With a fire in hand, a small child can be more powerful than most ferocious animals. With fire in a hand, we get a power to maybe burn down anything and everything that we want. So that is how, by the way, fire is one of the important enablers to make Homo sapiens such a powerful species on this planet. And indeed, it's the same fire that we continue to use to power our energy. Every year, we burn close to about 8 billion tons of coal. We burn about 4.5 billion tons of oil, 3.5 billion tons of gas. All that is underneath is what we are digging up, burning, and then fulfilling our energy requirements to support our overconsumption. So this is the story of a big enabler for setting this